The ultimatum sets the stage for a story of heartbreak, moral conflict, and the weight of choices. Ayana, a young woman of both strength and sensitivity, has fallen deeply in love with Takoda, a Cherokee warrior whose courage in battle is matched only by the rigidity of his principles. Their love, though passionate, exists within a world defined by strict social codes, honor, and expectations that leave little room for compromise. When Ayana discovers that she is pregnant, the joy of impending motherhood is immediately overshadowed by fear and uncertainty, not just for herself, but for the life growing inside her. Takoda's reaction is startlingly harsh and unyielding. Instead of expressing care or offering support, he issues a stark ultimatum: leave or lose it. This demand is not born out of cruelty alone, but from the constraints of his identity and the pressures he faces within his community, where any deviation from the warrior code or perceived weakness could damage his honor irreparably. Ayana is left in a state of shock, her heart torn between the man she loves and the child she carries. Realizing that staying with Takoda could mean risking everything for both herself and the unborn child. Yet, the alternative, abandoning the man she loves, is equally painful, forcing her to confront a decision that no young woman should ever face. In this moment, the story emphasizes the intensity of human emotion under extreme circumstances. Love entwined with fear, hope intertwined with despair, and courage shadowed by helplessness. Ultimately, Ayana chooses to leave, not out of defiance, but out of necessity, carrying with her the unborn child and a sense of quiet determination. This choice establishes her character as resilient, morally strong, and deeply protective, highlighting the sacrifices she is willing to make for life and love. The scene also introduces Takoda not as a villain but as a complex figure bound by his own cultural values and personal limitations, creating a tension between duty and desire that will echo throughout the story. Part 1 is therefore foundational, planting the emotional seeds for all that follows. The isolation, the birth and upbringing of Ilan, and the eventual reckoning that will challenge both characters to confront the consequences of their actions, illustrating how a single moment of ultimatum can ripple across years, shaping destinies and forging paths to redemption. Life in Seclusion delves into Ayana's struggle and resilience as she attempts to rebuild her life after leaving Takoda, highlighting both the challenges and small triumphs that define her solitary journey. Removed from the Cherokee warrior's world and the love she was forced to abandon, Ayana relocates to a distant settlement, seeking both anonymity and safety, yet the distance brings its own difficulties. In a place unfamiliar and often indifferent, she must navigate the harsh realities of survival, while carrying the weight of her unborn child. Her days are filled with laborious tasks, gathering food, tending to a small dwelling, and performing healing and midwifery work for neighbors who recognize her skill and compassion. These endeavors not only provide sustenance but also foster a sense of purpose, allowing her to invest her energy in acts of care that soothe both her spirit and her sense of isolation. Emotionally, Ayana wrestles with a complex mixture of grief, longing, and cautious hope. Memories of Takoda, the stern command, the fleeting tenderness, the love they shared linger in her mind, at times tormenting her, at times reminding her of what she must protect, the child she carries. Her inner world becomes a delicate balancing act, managing fear for the future, the physical demands of pregnancy, and the uncertainty of the choices she has made. Despite the adversity, Ayana demonstrates remarkable fortitude, drawing on her intelligence, intuition, and inherited knowledge of healing to carve out a small sphere of control in a life that feels precarious. The isolation of Seclusion, while lonely, also provides her with the opportunity to reflect, plan, and prepare for the challenges of motherhood. This stage of her life is critical, as it establishes the foundation for both her personal strength and the moral and emotional framework she will pass on to her child, Ilan. The narrative emphasizes that survival is not merely about enduring hardships, but also about cultivating resilience, self-reliance, and hope, even in circumstances that test every fiber of one's being. By the end of Part 2, readers understand Ayana as a woman shaped by both love and loss, whose courage and determination allow her to confront an uncertain future with dignity, setting the stage for the birth of her child and the eventual encounter with the father who once demanded she choose between love and life. The child is born marks a pivotal moment in Ayana's journey, blending the triumph of life with the lingering shadows of hardship and sacrifice, as the culmination of her courage and resilience comes to fruition. After months of enduring the physical and emotional challenges of pregnancy in isolation, Ayana brings her son, Ilan, into the world, a child who embodies both hope and the continuation of her love for Takoda, despite his absence. The birth is intense and transformative, forcing Iana to confront the full scope of her responsibilities as a mother, protector, and provider, while simultaneously grappling with the residual pain of having been abandoned by the child's father. Ilan's arrival is not just a biological event but a symbolic affirmation of Iana's strength, independence, and unwavering commitment to life. In a world that demanded she choose between love and survival, she chose survival, but with it, created a new life that carries the legacy of both her courage and the love she once shared. As she cradles Ilan, she reflects on the duality of her situation. Her heart still aches for Takoda, yet her focus shifts entirely to nurturing her son, whose presence gives her life renewed purpose. Every action, from the first feedings to the comforting of cries in the middle of the night, becomes an extension of her dedication and maternal instinct, shaping not only the child's early experiences but also instilling in him a sense of security, love, and resilience despite the absence of a father figure. This period also solidifies the emotional bond between mother and child as Iana begins the painstaking work of raising Ilan with values, stories, and lessons she holds dear, preparing him to navigate a world that can be as unforgiving as it is beautiful. Meanwhile, the unanswered questions about Takoda's fate linger in the background, planting seeds of future conflict and eventual reconciliation, as the child's very existence is a living reminder of past decisions and unfulfilled connections. Part 3 emphasizes the themes of sacrifice, endurance, and hope, demonstrating how a single act of courage, the choice to keep and raise Ilan, shapes the trajectory of both mother and child, laying the foundation for the emotional and narrative journey that will continue as Ilan grows and inevitably comes face to face with the father who once demanded his absence. In this part, the story underscores the enduring power of maternal love as both a protective force and a transformative agent, ensuring that life, hope, and connection persist even in the face of loss and separation. Takoda's regret shifts the focus to the Cherokee warrior himself, exploring the consequences of his rigid choices and the emotional vacuum that has haunted him in the years following Iana's departure, revealing a man grappling with remorse, longing, and the unfulfilled bonds of family. Though Takoda continues to live according to the strict code of honor and duty that initially guided his harsh ultimatum, victories in battle and accolades within his community do little to fill the growing emptiness in his heart. The passage of time has not softened his memories of Iana. Instead, they persist with quiet insistence, surfacing in fleeting visions of her fiery determination, her gentle compassion, and the tender moments they once shared. Each memory serves as both a reminder of the love he once took for granted, and a mirror reflecting the irreversible choices he made, particularly the ultimatum that forced her to leave with their unborn child. In his solitude, Takoda experiences an increasing awareness that his pride and adherence to duty came at a profound cost, not only the loss of Ish's presence in his life, but also the absence of a son whose existence he has only imagined from afar. This part of the story emphasizes his internal struggle. He is caught between the disciplined life he has led and a gnawing sense of guilt that no amount of success or recognition can erase. The narrative delves into the complexity of his character, showing that he is not a villain, but a man constrained by the values and expectations of his culture, yet painfully human in his capacity for reflection and remorse. Takoda begins to recognize that the strength he once prized, stoicism, honor, and control is insufficient to address the emotional void left by his choices. These feelings of regret are compounded by the awareness that Iana has endured alone, raising a child whose very existence represents both a reminder of his failure and a potential bridge to redemption. Part 4 establishes the groundwork for the eventual reunion with Ilan and Iana, highlighting that personal growth often emerges from acknowledgement of past mistakes, emotional vulnerability, and the willingness to confront consequences long deferred. By exploring Takoda's regret, the story deepens the emotional resonance, illustrating how decisions made under pressure ripple across time, shaping not only one's own life, but the lives of those one loves, setting the stage for a dramatic reckoning and the opportunity to reconcile with the family he once forsook, ultimately underscoring themes of responsibility, remorse, and the enduring human need for connection. A chance encounter marks a turning point in the story, as fate orchestrates an unexpected reunion between the boy Ilan and his father Takoda, bringing years of separation, longing, and unspoken emotions to the forefront and setting the stage for confrontation and reconciliation. 5 years have passed since Iana left Takoda, and both she and her son have grown accustomed to life shaped by absence and resilience. Takoda, still wandering through territories familiar yet now tinged with memories, travels by carriage along a quiet village path, unaware that the threads of destiny are about to intersect in a way he could not have anticipated. Suddenly, he hears the voice of a young boy calling out, a sound at once insistent and vulnerable, cutting through the rhythm of his journey. Curious and instinctively alert, Takoda halts, his eyes scanning the road, until they meet those of Ilan, standing small yet determined, clutching a sense of urgency and hope that immediately captures the warrior's attention. Recognition strikes in an instant. The boy's features, the shape of his eyes, the expressions so reminiscent of Ayana, they all awaken memories and emotions Takoda had long suppressed: love, regret, and a lingering guilt that now finds a tangible face in front of him. Ilan, innocent and unaware of the full weight of his presence, pleads with Takoda to come with him and see his mother, expressing a longing that is pure and unfiltered, a child's instinctive desire to connect with the parent he has never known. This encounter challenges Takoda's stoicism and forces him to confront the consequences of his past decisions, showing him the human cost of the ultimatum he once delivered. The narrative emphasizes the emotional intensity of the moment, capturing the collision of past mistakes with present opportunity, as the boy's simple yet profound act of seeking his father ignites a cascade of introspection and unresolved feelings. The encounter also highlights the story's theme of destiny and the enduring bonds of family, suggesting that even years of absence and choices driven by fear or pride cannot entirely sever the ties between parent and child. Part 5 establishes suspense and emotional tension, illustrating that the path to reconciliation begins with a single, serendipitous meeting, while preparing the reader for the dramatic reunion and confessions that will follow. As Takoda must now decide whether he will rise to the responsibility long deferred or allow the opportunity for connection and redemption to slip away once more. Confrontation and Confession delves into the emotionally charged moment when Takoda, confronted by his son Ilan, is forced to face the consequences of his past decisions and grapple with the long-suppressed feelings of guilt, love, and responsibility, creating the tension that will ultimately pave the way for reconciliation. Following the chance encounter, Takoda follows Ilan to the small, secluded home where Ayana has lived for the past 5 years, a dwelling that has been both a sanctuary and a symbol of the life he abandoned. As he approaches, he is struck by the tangible presence of the child who is his living legacy, whose very existence embodies both his past failure and a potential path to redemption. Ilan, unaware of the full weight of his father's past actions but intuitively sensing the need for connection, urges Takoda to come inside and meet his mother, his words carrying innocence, hope, and an unspoken demand for accountability. The confrontation is immediate and complex. Ayana, initially startled and wary at the sight of the man who once issued an ultimatum that forever altered her life, is confronted with a mixture of surprise, anger, and residual affection, while Takoda is forced to reconcile his pride with the deep remorse and love he has harbored in silence. In this tense exchange, Takoda confesses the pain of his absence, acknowledging that his rigid adherence to duty and honor caused suffering for both Ayana and the child he never knew, revealing a vulnerability that contrasts sharply with the stoic warrior image he maintained for so long. The scene explores themes of accountability, emotional honesty, and the transformative power of confession, showing that true reconciliation requires more than mere presence. It demands acknowledgement of past mistakes and a willingness to bear their consequences. The dialogue between father and mother, mediated by the innocent and earnest curiosity of Ilan, emphasizes the enduring bonds of family, the weight of choices made under pressure, and the potential for healing even after years of separation and pain. Part 6 is pivotal, as it transitions the narrative from tension and regret toward the possibility of rebuilding trust, demonstrating that love and family can survive even the harshest tests of time and circumstance when honesty, humility, and courage are present. By the end of this part, the stage is set for the reunion to evolve from confrontation to tentative acceptance, illustrating that the first step toward mending broken relationships is the willingness to face the truth and open one's heart, no matter how vulnerable or uncomfortable that may feel. The reunion is the emotional climax of the story, where years of separation, pain, and longing converge into a fragile but powerful reconnection between Takoda, Ayana, and Ilan, highlighting the complex interplay of forgiveness, vulnerability, and the tentative rebuilding of trust. After following Ilan to Ayana's home, Takoda faces the woman he once loved, and the consequences of his ultimatum, her resilience, independence, and the life she built in his absence, all embodied in the bright-eyed, earnest boy standing between them. Ayana, having raised Elan alone for 5 years, meets Dakota with a mix of caution, lingering anger, and curiosity, unsure whether the man before her is truly remorseful or if he has come to reclaim his past pride rather than genuinely seek connection. The reunion unfolds slowly, with silence, glances, and subtle gestures speaking volumes as both adults navigate the chasm of pain, betrayal, and unspoken emotions that has grown between them. Dakota, humbled by the presence of his son and the palpable strength of Ayana, expresses his remorse fully, acknowledging the damage caused by his rigid adherence to duty and the harsh ultimatum that forced her departure. His confession is not a demand for forgiveness, but an honest confrontation with the truth of his failures, allowing Ayana to witness his vulnerability and sincerity. Elan, whose innocence and longing have bridged the gap between them, becomes the catalyst for healing. His mere presence reminding both parents of what truly matters, the life they created together, even in separation. The narrative emphasizes that the reunion is not a resolution of all pain or a return to the past, but a recognition that trust and love can be cautiously rebuilt when honesty, remorse, and consistent effort are present. This part explores the emotional complexity of reconciliation, showing that forgiveness is earned, and that relationships fractured by past mistakes require patience, empathy, and the willingness to confront difficult truths. Through shared vulnerability, small acts of care, and the presence of their son, Dakota and Ayana, begin to navigate a path toward renewed connection, learning to balance the memories of loss with hope for the future. Part 7 underscores themes of accountability, emotional courage, and the enduring bonds of family, illustrating that even the most painful decisions can lead to opportunities for healing when met with openness, humility, and genuine effort. By the end of this section, the story reaches a pivotal moment where past regrets are acknowledged, emotions are laid bare, and the foundation is set for a new chapter in which love, though tested, has the chance to flourish once more. Healing and New Beginnings concludes the story with a focus on reconciliation, growth, and the transformative power of love and family, illustrating how the wounds of the past can evolve into hope for the future when honesty, commitment, and empathy guide one's actions. After years of separation, regret, and hardship, Dakota, Ayana, and Elan began to forge a fragile but meaningful family bond, acknowledging the pain that once divided them, while choosing to embrace the possibilities of connection and mutual support. Dakota, having confronted his past mistakes and expressed genuine remorse, now takes deliberate steps to become a present and reliable figure in Elan's life, demonstrating that redemption is not merely spoken but earned through consistent care, patience, and dedication. Ayana, who endured years of struggle and solitude to raise her son, gradually opens her heart, recognizing the sincerity of Dakota's efforts and the shared love for the child who stands as a living bridge between them. Elan, whose innocent courage initiated this reunion, experiences the joy of having both parents in his life, and his presence reinforces the bonds that slowly mend the fractured family dynamic. The narrative emphasizes that healing is a gradual process. It requires confronting old grievances, establishing trust anew, and allowing vulnerability to coexist with strength. Past regrets, while never fully erased, become opportunities for reflection and learning rather than barriers to affection and unity. As the story unfolds, small but meaningful interactions, a shared meal, a tender glance, gentle guidance, and moments of playful connection illustrate how trust and love can grow even after years of absence and suffering. The resolution highlights that family is not solely defined by perfection or unbroken harmony but by the willingness to forgive, the courage to face past errors, and the commitment to nurture bonds despite prior pain. Through this part, the story conveys a profound message that choices, even those made in fear or pride, do not have to dictate the entirety of one's life, and that the human heart possesses an extraordinary capacity for resilience, compassion, and renewal. By the conclusion, Dakota, Ayana, and Elan have embarked on a shared path forward, where the lessons of hardship inform acts of love and responsibility, and where the promise of a united family offers hope, stability, and a sense of belonging. Part 8 leaves the reader with the understanding that, while life can be shaped by mistakes and missed opportunities, it is also endlessly capable of redemption, healing, and the creation of new beginnings rooted in courage, devotion, and enduring love.